Hello friends, hi. I hope everybody is doing good. I hope you're having an amazing week, amazing month, and ultimately we will all have an amazing year, right? Okay. So in this video, it's inspired by some of the exercises that we would do when I was in college. Also a period where I was like an orientation leader and we did a lot of identity talks, identity conversation. But it was always very important to make sure that the students that were coming in felt secure in who they were and also in what my college had to offer them. And one of the things that we would do is we would have talks about like identity and what our names mean. And there were different times where I wanted to share but I didn't end up sharing, and this was mainly during training. So lots of people would be sharing what their names meant or what like certain parts about them meant, and I really liked it. I really liked the exercise. It was something that it just felt very personal and like very interesting because I don't know how, but by understanding the meaning behind someone's name, just felt like there was a deeper layer to them that had become unraveled. And I don't know if that actually did happen. That's just the perception of the exercise. But anyway, today I'm going to be telling you the meaning of my name, and if you're Yoruba, you know the meaning of my name, or if you understand Yoruba, you know the meaning of my name, but just how it actually applies to me and how I should actually embody my name more. And at the end of the video, I'll give you guys an exercise to do as well. But yes, let's get back to it. This is also really inspired by the fact that I have been in Lagos for 3 months and my time in Lagos is coming to an end. And one of the things that I did not have to worry about coming to Lagos was wondering if people were going to be able to pronounce my name, thinking about, oh, do I have to go by a shorter name? I think it's going to rain, that's why it's so windy. But yes, thinking about, are people going to be able to pronounce my name? Do I need to go by Mo? Do I need to go by a nickname? All of that. And now I'm going back and I'm going to start having these questions again. I'm going to have these thoughts again, and I just have to come to an executive decision. Do I want to go by a nickname for the rest of my life, or do I want to just go through the process of people being able to say my name, whether it takes long, whether they don't get it right the first time, like what does that look like? Ultimately, that's for me. I have to decide that, and I just think it's crazy that I have to do this mental maths for my own name. Anyway, so my name is Mololuwa. Yeah, I know I'm saying it so many times, but my name is Mololuwa, and that translates to I have God. I think technically it loosely translates to I use God, but I don't use God. So it is I have God. So Mololuwa, I have God. And it's so interesting that this is my name because for the longest time, I actually did a video about it some time ago. It's titled An Ode to Fear, Anxiety and Worry. And I have lived a lot of my life being afraid and being scared. I'm going to turn 22 in June, literally in a couple of weeks. I've lived like 21 years of my life in fear. And that's not something that I want to continue or want to keep going. It's actually easier said than done to be like, okay, I'm not going to live a life full of fear, of worry, of anxiety. Since you may have allowed it to dominate most of your life, so trying to be free of it is not necessarily easy, but I know that that's something that God can help me with. That's something that He continues to help me with. I won't say that there are not times where I'm not afraid or I'm not worried, but it's not by mistake that my name is Mololuwa. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I have God. So in every situation, whatever I am, that's one of the ways that I will continue to identify myself, literally with my name and understanding that I have Him. Also in having Him, trust comes into, right? But let's go into growing up with my name. So I grew up in Lagos. I don't have to think too much about people being able to pronounce my name or them not being able to pronounce it. Oh my goodness, all this noise, what's going on? There's so much noise. I apologize for that. Yes, growing up in my name, it was nothing I had to think about. It wasn't until I went to America for school that I had to think about my name. I want to say pretty much since I was born, everybody has been calling me Missimo or Miss Mo. These are like the two variations. I have a number of nicknames, or Missimo or Miss Mo, and my dad said that it was because for as long as I can remember, I've always been like a very good baby. so to say. Yeah. It was a very sweet baby. I didn't give people trouble. I didn't give them I was not a stressful baby. Pretty much. So it made sense. I'm a baby, I'm a miss, I'm a Miss Mo, that's it. And in nursery school, in fact not even nursery school, honestly for most of primary school, a lot of people genuinely thought my name was Miss Mo because I didn't even address myself as Mololuwa. It was my name, I liked that it was my name, but everybody loved my nickname. I love my nickname as well. So when somebody asks me what's my name is Miss Mo. So literally Miss Mo, my last name. When we were moving to this house, I was looking through books from primary school, so my notebooks, textbooks, and there was too many times where the teacher wrote Miss Mo as my first name. I thought that was so interesting. That shows how I was introducing myself. I identified as that fully, not my actual name. And then when I went to school for university, for college, that's where all the problems kind of started, with people not being able to pronounce my name. Even Nigerians, America, some of them still not able to pronounce my name. It's kind of annoying when that happens, but again, I guess it's not their fault. But again, you kind of try harder, Yeah, so there was that. There were honestly so many different instances of microaggressions towards me because of my name. There was one time when I was in school, I went to the financial aid office, and the woman that was attending to me, she asked me for my name, told her my name, first name, last name, and then she was like, yeah, I can't pronounce that. I'm not going to call you that. I'm going to call you M. And I was like, oh, okay. And I don't know why, but when it comes to money, when it comes to finances and sorting all of that out, I don't even play. I don't even try to take any chances or any. I don't want any issues. So I was like, you know what? The person that's sorting out this financial situation, the person that's sorting out money, me getting money for school, all of that. Okay, cool. It wasn't cool, but just let it slide. So whenever I would go to her, because for some reason she was the person that was always attending to me, she just kept calling me and then she would laugh about it, isn't that so much easier? No, it's not easier. My name is actually very easy to pronounce. There's literally a vowel after every single consonant. It's not hard. But obviously I didn't have the nerve to say back then. Again, the anxiety, the fear, all of that, trying to work its way through that, even though my name literally means having God and trusting Him and Him being with me regardless of the situation. So I should be able to speak up, but I didn't. So that's something that has happened. There's even been instances where, and I think it's just something that you would know, where I would introduce myself to somebody and I can tell that they're not saying my name. It's because they know they can't pronounce it. It's just say it, just try and say it. If you don't get it right, I'll correct you. But for you to now just not say my name, I even kind of hesitated to make this video because one thing I don't like is feeling like I'm complaining or giving people a hard time about something. But I'm not even being dramatic. I feel like if it's somebody else in that situation where one of the most basic things about you and about your existence is your name. Because of people have identity crisis, or when people just changing their name, all of that. Because your name is a form of identification. So if you cannot even say the most basic thing that identifies me, what's going on? Names are actually very important. Think about it. God gave Adam that responsibility to name things. How can you be living without a name? My name is always something that I have embraced and always loved. I love my nicknames, yes. I think my nicknames are very cute. I think they embody who I am very well as well. Or so does my name. I'm just in my head about going back, people having to pronounce my name and having to introduce myself, and just thinking about how that's going to go. But it's going to go fine because I have God. I literally have Him. That's my name. It's not by mistake that is my name. It's also not by mistake that the enemy is trying to use fear and worry and anxiety to prevent me from being able to do things or being able to thrive in the world, It's like how there are different promises that God has spoken concerning us. There are promises that apply to all of God's children, but there are also very specific promises that each and every one of us have. And there are different times when we would have heard God confirm those promises to us, or it might be through reading His Word, which is one way to always hear from God, or if God has put somebody in your life and He speak a word concerning you, that's a promise of God, that's a prophecy, something that is going to come to play. And a lot of times what the enemy likes to do is, after you put in that word, after you put in that prophecy, it's now time to scare you. It's time to make you feel like, did you really hear this? Did God really see this concerning you? You've had all these problems, quote unquote. You have all these insecurities. You have all these things that supposedly make you to be weak or to be less than. But again, it's in your weakness and it's in your strength that God's, not in your strength, it's in your weakness that God's strength comes to play, so that you will not be able to take any glory or anything for yourself. This has low-key turned into a sermon, a little preaching situation. All I was trying to get at was my name, the meaning of my name, and all of that. But yes, my name continues to ground me. It continues to remind me of who I am, of who God has called me to be, of the big role that He has to play in my life, because I literally have Him. So whenever I'm living life without God, whenever I'm living life on autopilot, I'm just doing whatever I want to do, I'm just swaying, I'm just moving with the waves. It's like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? This is not your identity. This is not who God has called you to be. I love Yoruba people so much, honestly, because the intentionality behind names, like all of my sisters, we all have very beautiful names, and must have come from God because our names genuinely apply to each and every one of us. I can't imagine having the name of one of my other sisters or them having my own name. It makes perfect sense that I'm the person that has this name, because no human being is without struggle, no Christian is without struggle. A lot of times, it's even when you are taking your walk with God seriously, or when you have decided that you want to continue to be in His plan, you want to continue to be in alignment with His word, that the enemy now tries to make you feel like everything God has promised, everything God has said concerning you is a lie, like it's false. And that's when you start getting scared, that's when you start getting worried, that's when you start to walk out of alignment, because the enemy has succeeded in making you feel like what God has spoken concerning you is not true. And God is not a liar. He does not lie. He's not man that lies. He's not the prince of lies. That's the devil. That's the enemy. So we can't listen to that. We can't listen to that. I will not listen to that. Names are so powerful. Our parents, they didn't make mistakes by giving us the names that they gave us. If it's possible that your name doesn't have a meaning, you can have a new name in Christ based on like different words that they have received or different things that people have spoken concerning them. There might be a new name that they have. I didn't say you should change your name legally. If you want to change your name legally, I guess you can do that. But that's really the point of the video. Point of the video is more so to realize that even from birth, even from the names that we have, how something that we may see as insignificant, how it actually has such a huge role or huge ties to who we are and the life that we're supposed to be living. So for example, again, my name is Mololuwa. It means I have God, I trust Him. Everything I can put, like I have God. When you have God, you need absolutely nothing. That's one of the things that God has been saying to me. There's so many things I think I want, there's so many things I think I need. There are even times where something that I think I need, I get it, and it ends up not being enough. And I was there thinking, oh, when I get this thing, it's actually enough, and it's not enough. God knew it was not enough. He still allowed me to have it, so I can realize that I'm a little bit. So you can see that what you're doing doesn't really make sense. So you can see, because I've already told you that all you need is me. All you can ever want and need and have is me. So why am I not living my life like that? Why am I not walking in that purpose? Why? because I'm listening to the lies that the enemy has tried to sow over like 21 years. And that cannot happen. I can't imagine continuing to live my life in fear and worry and anxiety, knowing that is not what God has called me to, knowing that intentionally the name I have been given is one to trust Him, is one to realize that I have Him. This song that Victoria Orenzi is always singing, the premise of it is that you have backing. You are not alone. You are not walking this life alone. You have got the Father, you have got the Son, you have the Spirit, all working with you. You are not alone. I am not alone. You are not alone. Yeah, I feel like I can keep going on and on, but I genuinely want to know what your names mean. Please share it with me. Tell me what your name means. Tell me how that aligns with you, how that has like impacted you. Have there been like different times where even in a different country than one you were raised in, where you felt like you had to change your name so that you could please them, and that really doesn't feel good. I know. In as much as I love my nicknames, it's very different when somebody says calling you something else. I'm calling you M. What does M mean? What does that mean? That situation still clearly stresses me out. We grow, we move on from that. But yeah, I've enjoyed talking to you. I pray that God grants me the grace and gives me more ideas on what to share, what to say, because I did not see myself making this sit down video. Pretty much done now. I don't think there's anything else the Holy Spirit wants me to say or needs me to say. So enjoy the rest of your week. Have a blessed day. Have a blessed month. And see you next week. I don't know what the video will be, but I'll see you next week, yeah? Bye.